Nature's wealth, good for your health. This is the Raw Life Health Show.
Hello everybody, this is Paul Neeson with the Raw Life Health Show, and I'm so excited. We're here in Boston, and I just did a lecture last night. We had a wonderful time, but I met a lady who's met me before. Her name is Deb. And Deb came to my lecture years ago when I was here in town, and she'd read my book. And she just told me I was the first raw food speaker she heard speak. And she told me something amazing. I'm going to let her share her healing story. But it's just wonderful. Deb, why don't you share your story? This is Deb, everybody. And Deb, why don't you share your story?
Hi, I'd love to.
And you can just keep the camera on her here. So Deb, why don't you share your story?
Okay. I am so excited because this has been life transforming for me. I spent 2 years with knees so painful that wherever I went I took elevators instead of stairs. I could not walk on stairs. I gained 60 pounds because I couldn't exercise anymore. And I could hardly walk for 5 minutes without excruciating pain. The doctor wanted to do surgery at one point, and I just, when he told me that, you know, I asked him, well, what about Joe Namath and the people who had knee problems and you took all the cartilage out? Didn't that hurt them? And he said, well, today that would be considered malpractice. And so I thought, well, do I want to, you know, have any cartilage removed? And I decided not to, and somehow, miraculously, Paul Neeson spoke at a meeting I just happened to go to, and I started transitioning my diet to raw foods, more raw foods. And I didn't know that this would be a side effect, but just gradually, as I got rid of the dairy and the meat, I just cut back, and more raw, I started to have less and less pain. And then I would notice if I had some dairy or some meat, the next day I'd feel pain in there. And but now I'm completely pain-free. I'm just so happy every day because I had quit the gym because I couldn't use the treadmill anymore, too much pain, couldn't use any of the machines. And now I'm back at the gym, I'm walking every day, I feel like a new person. So thank you, Paul.
Wonderful. And Deb also here, I was just in town doing a lecture for my new book, The Daylight Diet. And not only is Deb eating a majority of her diet raw foods, but she also told me that she's incorporated the Daylight Diet just to kind of test it out before I came to town. She's been doing it for a while now. And what's been some of your experiences with the Daylight Diet?
Well, I was actually surprised because the first day I thought, well, I'm never going to be able to do this. But, you know, I got up really early. I made sure I went to bed the first night, you know, early enough, and by 9, 10, and I got up at like 5 or 6 and went for a walk. Very pleasant that time of day. Really enjoyed it. It was a nice time to be around, and, you know, had my breakfast at the right time, and, you know, really felt satisfied drinking water and everything, and had a fairly sizable lunch meal, and really I wasn't even hungry later in the day, and I slept so well that night, and, you know, I just can't wait to really see how this works down the road. So thank you, Paul, for that.
Well, wonderful. And I'm telling everyone else out there, I mean, you have this great opportunity. My new book will be out next month on the Daylight Diet. Deb just heard my lecture on it, and you can go on the internet and see my lecture on it. I have a new DVD out now of the lecture, The Daylight Diet. So, you know, try it before you deny it, and you'll see how great it could be for you. And Deb is just an example of the many people that are learning a great benefit of the raw foods and also of the Daylight Diet, eating at the right time, not overeating, and so much more. And we'll be covering all these topics here in the Raw Life Health Show. Everyone out there, I have a question for you. Have you tried the Daylight Diet yet? And if you have, just post your responses below of what is done for you. Just post here under this video any benefits you've seen from the Daylight Diet, recommendations, suggestions, questions, and we'll have other people get back to you on that, and so will I. This is Paul Neeson with the Raw Life Health Show saying thank you very much and have a great raw life.
This is the Raw Life Health Show. Raw Life, brighten up your life.